I haven't pushed out a dumb argument lately. Well, what I mean is that I haven't disclosed anybody else's dumb arguments. I don't make them myself. I am actually trying out a new machine here. It is a Lenovo IdeaPad, and it's got some power to it, so I'm really liking this so far. However, I can't get my display capture to come up at all. I went through like a lot of help pages and stuff like that, and I can't get it to come up. It's just, I delete it, I re-add it, I change the processor. I just can't seem to get it to go. So I'm stuck without the display capture for a little while. I'm using OBS Streamlabs, by the way. So let's focus on another dumb argument. And the dumb argument I hear all the time is, Kyle should not have used an AR-15 rifle. That choice of weapon itself shows that he was out to kill people. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
Is the AR-15 a bad choice for Kyle? In my opinion, no. It's actually an ideal choice. You have to look at the options he had available to him. So we'll just kind of start from the bottom and work our way up. And of course, at the bottom, he uses his bare fists. The idea behind it, he doesn't carry a rifle at all, and that he's just going to walk around, and if somebody messes with him, he'll turn around and just whack, whack, whack here, uppercut, and, a hook and all that. There's a number of problems with it, of course. And the number one problem with it is that that's just a good way to get yourself all cut up. You don't know if the other person has a weapon, and if they do, you're going to probably get hurt pretty badly. Kyle isn't really much of a fighter. I mean, you could see that in that one video that was taken during the summer, that he tends to swing wide, and he doesn't put any hip action into his shots at all, so he's not going to really hurt anybody. And so he doesn't really come off as a real seasoned fighter anyway. He's not real big, and he just doesn't have, I don't believe, that sort of confidence and nastiness that comes around when you have to be able to punch somebody out. And no, I'm not going to go around here telling you about how tough I am. I hate that crap. All you guys out there telling about how you would have beat the living crap out of people instead, and you'd have used martial arts and your jujitsu. You're 140-pound weaklings, and you're in your dad's basement. Don't even give me it. I ain't buying it. So I don't think that fisticuffs are going to work for him. Now, another thing that could be said is that he had other people around him. He really didn't need to have a rifle with him. That may be true, actually. But the trouble is that Kyle wants a rifle. I mean, everybody that's guarding the properties with him has one. He's 17 years old. He wants to be a part of the crowd. He wants to belong. And if you're 17 and everybody else is a little bit older, and you don't have a weapon with you and they do, you just kind of feel out of place. You really don't feel like you're a part of the unit. And I have a feeling that part of the reason why he got a rifle was he just wanted to kind of belong. He wanted to make it look like he was actually a part of the force. I understand that. At 17 years old, we all were like that. It's not a good reason, but I'm sorry, it doesn't indicate anything to me of any evil intent. Now, he could also have used a knife. A knife isn't really very good, though. I think that a knife probably would have caught him in more trouble than if he just used his bare fists. If you carry the knife out in the open, people see it, and that's what they're just going to grab. And the other one is that if he conceals it, now you've got all kinds of problems. You have to have a blade of a certain length, and a short blade isn't really going to be very effective. It's just not a good choice at all. It's not much of a deterrent either. I mean, it's even though most rational people would say, well, he's got a knife, I don't think I want to mess with him. But if the knife is in a scabbard, it just doesn't come across as something that's real dangerous. So as we work our way up, I think most people would have said handgun. Why did you have to choose one of those scary AR-15 rifles? Oh my gosh, look at them. They're black, and they got lots of these appliances and applications and accessories on them, and they're so scary. I mean, why did he have to use something like that? He could have used a handgun. Actually, a handgun is a terrible choice. I mean, that's the worst choice he could have made for a really easy reason. It's really illegal. I mean, Kyle chose an AR-15 rifle, and that may or may not be illegal. It's kind of depending on how you look at the laws. Personally, I think he's going to get in trouble for that, but it's only a misdemeanor. But if he had chosen a handgun, now he has a federal offense, and a handgun would have not been a good choice at all. And furthermore, nobody was going to give him any slack. If he pulls out a handgun and starts shooting people, they're going to look at him the same way. It's not going to change people's opinions of what he did. And so a handgun is a terrible idea. Gage Grosskreutz, he had one, but he is at least 18 years old, and whether he could actually legally have that handgun is one thing or not, but he was carrying it concealed. Kyle is carrying his rifle out in the open because he doesn't want to be attacked, and he's hoping that that rifle would be enough to prevent anybody from bothering him. Now, another solution is a shotgun. A pump-action shotgun is a very scary thing. I've been on the receiving end of the barrel of one of those things. Not that it fired at me, but I'm staring into one, and man, your knees shake. It's big old barrel on them things, and it's really nasty. And the worst thing about them is at close range, they can be devastating. I would much rather get shot with an AR-15 at close range than a shotgun. Well, depending on the gauge. I mean, if it's double-aught, then yeah, you don't want to get shot with double-aught buckshot at close range. It would just blow a hole right in you. But there's also another thing to consider about a shotgun. Pump-action shotgun, you couldn't really have anything but a pump-action because, so like a double-barrel shotgun is terrible. I mean, you get 2 shots off and now you're trying to reload. But a pump-action shotgun is a pretty menacing device. I mean, I would suggest that in terms of intent, it's probably as bad as the AR-15. The person carrying around a pump-action shotgun is somebody to not mess with. And I would suggest that most people would probably look at that as being the scarier weapon of the two. And you might think, well, that's crazy. The AR-15 is such a scary weapon. I mean, it's the scariest. In my opinion, it's not scary enough. And the reason why, you saw 3 men there that night attack him. They didn't think that he was going to shoot them. They didn't think they would get hurt. Those guys were not brave, medal honors. They didn't think that actually they were going to get hurt. And reason why was they just didn't take that rifle very seriously. As soon as Kyle opened fire, look what happened to that bravery. They scattered. Up until the time he fired, they didn't think that. So they're attacking him. They thought they were being heroic. They'll take his rifle from him, and then blam, blam, blam. And all of a sudden, Anthony, he's leaning over, and he's dead. And Grosskreutz, he's running around with half his arm hanging off. And I think that's when people realize the AR-15, that's a real rifle. It's not a toy. And I think that that's part of the problem, was that the AR-15 was not scary enough. I think a pump-action shotgun would have actually been taken a lot more seriously than the AR-15. I know it's kind of odd. I know people will say, "Oh, that's crazy," but I really think that if Kyle had been carrying a pump-action shotgun, they would have been less likely to tangle with him. Now, the advantage of the AR-15: you get off a lot of shots very quickly. It's fairly accurate, despite what people think. It's not bad at close range. Kyle proved that. He shot all those guys within 2-3 feet and nailed them. So it's actually a fairly good close-range rifle. And it's actually quite good at long range, too. It is not the most powerful rifle around. I mean, I have a 30-06 that can definitely do a lot more damage than that 223. And I would suggest that my 270 308s are more powerful rounds. In fact, the 223 is considered a little bit underpowered for a lot of hunting purposes. There is no better rifle, though, for hunting hogs. The people who say, well, it's not a good rifle for hunting, they're wrong. I mean, it's actually a fairly good rifle for hunting as long as you're not trying to hunt anything that's too big. But for a hog, oh yeah, that's a good rifle for hunting hogs. And in fact, when it comes to hog population control, it is by far the #1 choice. I've seen a lot of guys hunting hogs, and they almost always choose the AR-15. So, the dumb argument, Kyle is guilty because he chose an AR-15. I don't think that that's valid at all. I think it's a really dumb argument. He chose the AR-15 because in his mind, he really didn't think that anybody was going to tangle with him. When he's walking around with it, just the presence of that rifle alone was enough to dissuade anybody from messing with him. And he was wrong, because there's just really some real stupid people out there. And he just never predicted it would happen. I am absolutely certain that Kyle went to that protest and he never thought he was actually going to shoot somebody that night. He certainly didn't go there to shoot somebody. That's even worse argument than his choice of weapon. He's going to walk around. He's part of his little unit there. He's feeling like he's doing some really good things, helping people, doing the medic thing. And he really did think that he was doing the community a big favor by going out there and helping people. But he just did not realize that Rosenbaum was out there. And if Rosenbaum hadn't attacked him that night, nothing would have happened. He would have gone home that night and probably went on Facebook the next day and told everybody about the great things he did, looking for some congratulations. And man, Kyle, you're doing a really good job out there. He was looking for a little bit of appreciation and acceptance. But for what he was wanting to do, I don't have any problem with his choice of weapon. Like my video and subscribe to my channel.